What's going on, guys? JSGC here, and we are here for another Manchester City video. Today we're going to be doing a transfer update because, well, there's no football going on. There's not a lot to talk about, and with no football going on now for the next few weeks at least, you know, we may as well put out a transfer update instead. And Manchester City, actually, in this video, have got a couple of confirmed deals, so make sure you stay tuned for that. So before I crack on with this video, though, make sure, like always, if you are enjoying the content, then make sure you help support my channel by subscribing, pressing that red button, pressing the bell, and putting your push notifications on. We're aiming for 6,000 subscribers, so any help towards that would be much appreciated. You can also find my social media links, which you can find in description below and popping up on screen if you want to go and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find my email in the description below too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business enquiries. Don't forget to also leave your thoughts in the comments below and also leave a thumbs up if you enjoy this video. So we're going to crack on with this video and we're going to start off with the ins like always, and we're going to be starting off with a player that we've got an update on from my last transfer update, and it comes in the form of Yan Couto. Now, it is 100% official after it has been announced officially in Brazil, and it's also been announced by Manchester City that they have signed Yan Couto, the Brazilian youngster. He's going to join Manchester City in the summer. He's a right back. He joins from Coritiba FC over in Brazil. So once again, like I said in the last video, welcome Yan to Manchester City, and I look forward to seeing what he can do for Manchester City in the summer. What's going to happen in the future for him at Manchester City, I do not know. Whether he's going to be loaned out into the summer of the next season, I do not know. Whether he's going to join Manchester City to become a first-team player, I do not know. If he's going to learn from the first-team squad, again, I do not know. I don't know what the future holds, but I am looking forward to seeing what Yan Couto can do for Manchester City. He looks like a proper good, young, quality player, so we'll wait to see what will happen. Now, one player, though, that it looks like Manchester City won't be signing is Jude Bellingham of Birmingham City. Now, apparently, according to a source coming from Germany, Borussia Dortmund was said to have won the race for him and were looking to bring him in for around €35 million, which I find incredible. That's roughly just over £30 million for a 16-year-old. I found that incredible. Then, Jude Bellingham, his representatives were spotted walking around Carrington. So Manchester United are trying to sign him. The money we're talking for this young player is astronomical, and I can't believe there is any justification for paying so much money for such a young, unproven player. Obviously got high regards for him to be valued at so much at such a young age. There's lots of pressure on the player, but if he does live up to it, then I imagine there's going to be a lot of profit there, or there's going to get a lot of years out of the player. But to me, you just cannot justify paying so much money for a player that is 16 years old. It is incredible the amount of money that is around in football, and so whilst I'm sure he's a quality player, I'm quite happy that City aren't paying £30+ million for a 16-year-old. So there we go. Now we've got a new name, comes in the form of Billy Gilmour, an 18-year-old midfielder. He's Scottish, and I don't know anything about him if I'm completely honest, but apparently, according to sources in Spain, and why they're speaking about a Scottish youngster joining Manchester City, I do not know, but apparently Pep Guardiola is keen on bringing him in. Now, like I said, I've done my research, and I still don't know too much about him because there's very little information out there on him. So I'm not too sure if he's even a professional footballer or not at this moment in time. If he's not, City can offer him a professional contract and we can sign him for free and we'd have to pay compensation. But if he is a professional footballer, then we would have to agree a deal. And if he's got Manchester City coming after him, he's 18 years old, then it does allow for City to have to pay a fee, and I imagine it'll be a lot of money. All I know about him, he's coming from Rangers and their academy, and Chelsea, obviously, who he currently plays for. Obviously might know a little bit more about him, but at this moment in time I don't know too much about him, so I'm not sure if he's a professional footballer or not. I just know that Manchester City are getting linked with Billy Gilmour, so we'll have to wait and see as to if Manchester City will make a move or not. Pep seems keen. Now, another player that Manchester City have signed, and speaking of players coming from Scotland, comes from Liam Smith. Now, he is signed for Manchester City. I spoke about him way back in January, beginning of January too. I think it was the first week of the January transfer window. Manchester City were to believe to have signed the 16-year-old from Kilmarnock. Now, that was not the case. Contrary to reports, Manchester City have now signed him, and that is official. But for the last couple of months, Manchester City, he's been training with Manchester City, but City haven't got the deal completely done up until this week, but he is now a Manchester City player. He will go into the Manchester City Academy. He's already with Manchester City right now. So officially, I like to say, welcome Liam Smith to Manchester City. And he's one of them players that I'll keep an eye on and see how he develops. Now we'll move on to the outs now, because this is really interesting and it's the real meat of this video. Now, reports in Italy yesterday were reporting that PSG want to try and make the most of Manchester City's moments with the Champions League, because at this moment in time, with what's happening with the coronavirus, we don't know when we're going to have our cast meeting and what's going to happen to the Champions League for this season and next season and the season after, of course, with Manchester City having the Champions League ban. And PSG apparently are trying to make the most of it and try and sign one of Manchester City's players, Riyad Mahrez, for the summer. Now, how much money would you value Riyad Mahrez at? I think Riyad Mahrez has had a fantastic season. Kevin De Bruyne, for me, is the player of the season at Manchester City already. But Riyad Mahrez has to be a close second, because he has come on leaps and bounds since last season. And I think he's been one of Manchester City's best players this season. He's been very consistent. He's been willing to play on the right, on the left, through the middle. He's always put in good performances for Manchester City. He tries his hardest. He tracks back. And I think, in my opinion, that he has been one of Man City's standout players for this season. And so, with the future of Leroy Sané uncertain, I couldn't see Manchester City selling another winger. But if Riyad Mahrez did want to leave and he wanted to play Champions League football, which is what's been reported in Italy, and that's why PSG are being linked, how much money would you regard Riyad Mahrez as being? What would you value him at? Honestly, that is a really interesting question, because I've never really thought that much about Manchester City selling him. I don't think Manchester City will sell Riyad Mahrez, but it has been reported, so I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. How much would you value Riyad Mahrez at? Now, with this source, I doubt there's going to be too much truth in it, just purely for the politics of football. City are owned by, obviously, companies in Abu Dhabi, and PSG owned by companies in Qatar. And the relations between the two countries, well, they're pretty frictioned. They're not brilliant, and they're certainly not going to go into partnership and business with each other, and they're not going to be selling. City aren't going to sell one of their best players from this season to PSG. It isn't going to happen. I don't see City selling any players to PSG, and I also don't see PSG selling any players to Manchester City. I just don't see the two countries negotiating and talking with each other to make something happen. So, to me, the deal from that makes it highly unlikely. But if Riyad Mahrez does want to leave Manchester City and that 2-year Champions League ban is upheld and he does want to leave, then he may well leave. What's going to happen with the other players? Some other players might leave, and so that is a little bit of a concern that does come from this story, which I'm sure is just paper talk at this moment in time, but we're going to have to wait and see to the summer to see how things develop. Of course, we're waiting to see what happens with CAS and things like that, to see if we're going to have the Champions League ban upheld, if it's going to be reduced, is it going to be chucked out? We do not know. We're going to have to wait and see what happens with the case, but at this moment in time, the future's uncertain. It's not just the Premier League that's uncertain and football as a whole that's uncertain, but also how City are wanting to perform in the transfer market is pretty uncertain, because we don't know where we stand for next season, we don't know where we stand for this season, and to me, the whole football season at this moment in time is extremely confusing, and to put it best, I think it's just a mess. I think everything is just a complete mess at this moment in time. Nobody knows what's going to happen, where anyone's going to be, what season we're going to be playing, who's going to be playing who, and whether the season's even going to get finished. So everything at this moment in time is very unsettling and very uncertain. So it's difficult to be able to get things done, but clubs, they're well run, like City, they are well run. We'll have targets in mind, we'll know who we want to target, we'll know who we want to sell going into the season, for next season, so we'll know what happens from there. So when I get news and stuff that's happening, I will of course bring it to you, but at this moment in time, we're not too sure what's happening. City are bringing in a couple of young players, who are Man City going to try and sign in the summer. I'll obviously have a video about that, obviously, when it gets nearer to the summer. That's if the Premier League season doesn't go on into the summer, but we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, there we go. So that's been the video. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you leave a thumbs up so I know that you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Obviously welcoming the young players that have joined Manchester City, but also let me know, what do you value Riyad Mahrez at? What would you sell Riyad Mahrez for. Obviously, some people might not sell him and say he's priceless. So if that is the case, let me know in the comments below. Subscribe if you're new around here. Press that red button, press the bell, and put your push notifications on. You can also find my social media links, which you can find in the description below and popping up on screen for my Twitter and Instagram. My email also in the description below too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships or any videos or any general business inquiries. And I'll see you all again for the next video, which I'm sure will be an update on what is going to be happening in the football season, because there's meetings for UEFA and the Premier League and the FA and the EFL this week. So we'll have more clarification on when football may resume or not. So I'll have a video out later in the week with more details on that, so make sure you stay tuned for that. So I've been JSGC. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace. Ciao for now.